Welcome back. How to beat your sweet tooth without losing progress. Saw this online, see if you can relate. I crave sweets all the time. I'm constantly thinking about chocolate or crisps or jellies. British friend. I can't stay focused on losing weight when all I want is to stuff my face. I've used work, vacation, etc., and kept making excuses. I keep trying and giving up. Now I'm too ashamed to weigh myself. It's getting embarrassing. I need some tips on how to stay motivated and stop craving so much food. Click like if that's something you can relate to. Feeling like you have problems with cravings or a sweet tooth happens a lot. I've made several videos on the topic, and now I'm going to give you a different approach that really highlights that this is about autonomy and confidence more than sweet foods. It's about feeling empowered in the choice you want to make. So I'm going to break this down for you, maybe in a way you've never heard before. If this is your first time here, my name is Reggie. I'm the founder of Fit for Freelance. I help business owners lose weight and feel their best without crash diets or guilt. I've got the Live Aligned scorecard link below. It's a 3-minute quiz to check your health habit score and learn the next best step for you to take. So take a look at that. Now, we'll still start out with some of the tactics that you'll see online, some of the basics that you might forget, or you may not have heard of them yet, but staying hydrated is a really good tip. A lot of times, if you are craving sweet foods or salty foods, it's because your body's seeking more water. And so you might get more sugar instead of just drinking more water. So make sure you get plenty of water. Next tip, eat satisfying meals. That is something that gets forgotten in terms of the weight loss ecosphere where people are skipping meals or eating a bunch of lame diet foods that they don't really like, or, restricting their calories. They're not satisfied with what they're eating. And so at the end of the day or throughout the day, they'll have cravings for sweeter foods because that's what they truly want. So make sure that you eat satisfying meals that are balanced in nutrition, that fit realistic goals that you have for yourself. Third tip I have here is make active choices when it comes to foods that don't match your goals. So having a sweet tooth or liking sweet foods, nothing wrong with that. You just want to be active when you do that, when you make those choices and decide, like, is this what I want right now? And that's a key question to ask. People will see things and eat them and then not think about it until after, and then they feel regretful or like something's wrong with them when they just didn't actively make a choice. Or if they have like a small piece of something, they might be like, well, I already had some, so forget it. Let me just eat as much of it as I feel like eating right now. And that is not an active choice. That is kind of letting yourself slide and going on with a choice that doesn't match your goals. So when you're active about the choices when it comes to food that don't match your goals, then you're able to manage that portion and make a more effective choice for what you want. So those are some of the quick tactics. But we also want to look a little deeper at this. When this person says, I can't stay focused on losing weight when all I want is to stuff my face. When you're thinking like that, you're very likely to get stuck because you are looking at weight loss as the primary goal. And that's not effective, right? If you want to lose weight, you have to do steps in the process that contribute to that. And if you are imagining that you're focusing on losing weight, then you're going to be off track. You're going to be focusing on the incorrect things. You might ask inaccurate questions that won't get you results, all kinds of problems. So what do you really want? Don't focus on losing weight. Focus on what you want. You probably want to have great food experiences and eat things that you like. So you want to have a plan that supports that in a realistic way that also contributes to your weight loss. A big thing when it comes to focusing on what you want is the question, what does a healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams look like? If you don't have that set up correctly, then you're going to think that you just want to lose weight at all costs. And then when you don't do things that lead to weight loss, you're going to feel bad about yourself. And you're going to wonder, why can't I make the changes that I want? It's because you haven't set it up correctly. So what I like to focus on, the live aligned method, vision, knowing what you want, understanding your long-term and short-term goals and how they interact, whether they support each other. So taking time to consider this in the big picture context of your life and what you want helps you make more effective intermediate choices. Also keeps you from feeling ashamed or embarrassed if you make a choice, an active choice that you want. Like if you determine that you want to have a sweet food and then you eat it and you enjoy it and it's awesome, then there's no need to feel embarrassed about that. Whereas if you have ended up eating a sweet food because you haven't thought about it, you haven't thought about how it fits into other things, you feel like you're lacking control, then over time you're going to feel like you aren't doing things that you want to do, and that feeling of being off track can feel embarrassing or shameful and all that stuff. So This vision, what does a healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams look like, is essential to your weight loss process if you want to do it without feeling stuck or guilty. Another thing that I will point out when it comes to having a sweet tooth, that's identity based. That's something I've covered a few times here, where if you tell yourself that you have a sweet tooth and you identify as having a sweet tooth, then you're going to do things that match having a sweet tooth. You're going to be like, oh, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm going to have a little chocolate or like a slice of pie here, right? You do things that match that. Whereas, like, if you could even say, like, I used to have a sweet tooth, but now I'm making more choices that match my health goals or my weight loss goals, then you have a little more flexibility in how you think and how you look for solutions when you are feeling an environmental trigger. Now, I don't want to get too deep into this positive behavior support kind of stuff, but the big thing is what you identify as, how you affirm yourself, what you believe in is going to be a major factor in how you make your choices. So keep that in mind when it comes to saying you have a sweet tooth. You can say, like, I like sweet food sometimes, and that will even help you just adjust to doing what you want. Right. Another thing, this person was talking about, using work as an excuse or their schedule or being busy or being on vacation. And that's all fair. That's common. I have lots of compassion for that. And I understand that process. And at the same time, we also want to think about your goals and what you want to do. So if you are constantly making excuses to go around your goals and you're not ending up doing what you want to do, or you're doing what you want to do short term without considering the long term effects of that, then you're going to feel stuck and you're going to get the same results you've been getting, which is frustrating. Then you're looking online for answers. Let me help you. So what we want to do, instead of using things as excuses to work against your long-term goals and what you want for yourself, we can not make excuses, right? That is a challenge usually, because there's always a way that you can justify things that happen or your emotions or any of that. Or you can also use excuses to help you reach your goals, which is like you're kind of going out of your way to make sure that you can satisfy your own needs and get support where you need it, because it's good for you. Don't just make excuses because you want to avoid things that you believe you should be doing. You should also consider making excuses to follow through with your plans. So if that means making an excuse like you can't go to an event, or you won't go to an event because you know that it's just like a dessert bar, right? That could be a way to, oh, I don't feel well, so I'm going to stay home, right? So it's just another approach that you can have. If you're constantly making excuses to circumvent your own goals, you can use those in a better way to get you better results. So those are some tips there, from the tactics to the strategy and overall thinking about the big picture of your health. If you're having a hard time with this sweet tooth stuff, let me help. Hope that helps. Click like if it does. And then I'd still have that health habit scorecard so you can learn exactly what to do next and take your next steps there. So let me know what you think in the comments. Next, you can watch Nighttime Cravings, How to Stop Eating After Dinner. I'll put that on the top. And then what kind of chocolate can help you lose weight. If you're really struggling with chocolate, this specific tip will help you. I'll put that down here. That's today's message. As always, keep practicing. Peace.